I'm still with Talk's international editor Isabel Oakeshott. You're not by any chance a Catholic, are you, Isabel?
No, I'm not, no.
Because there's a new pope. He's an American. He's going to make the Catholic Church great again, apparently. So we'll be profiling what's he called, Pope Leo the 14th a little later. He's an American from Chicago. Hey, how about that? Right, let's talk about the migrant crisis again. We have to. The thing about Keir Starmer's complete failure to deal with this is it involves these sort of performative statements that sort of make it look as if he's doing something. So two tough talking statements today that will definitely solve the migrant crisis. One is they're both crackdown announcements. One is that all migrants coming to live and work in Britain will have to learn fluent English to get their visas. Well, the thing I think about that is I wonder how they will define fluent English and will they really enforce this. The other one I think is even more fanciful. This is that the government is ordering these ludicrous, moronic immigration tribunal judges, you know, the ones that sort of keep saying, yeah, you don't have to go home because your kid doesn't like Albanian chicken nuggets and all that kind of stuff. Well, the government is ordering them to ignore these kind of laughable excuses. And they say that they're going to close the right to a family life ECHR loophole. That, of course, is, you know, if you're a paedophile or something and you've done 10 years in jail, you come out, we're going to deport you back to Syria or wherever you're from. They appeal. Some tribunal judge will say, oh, well, I'm afraid I am bound by the terms of the European Convention on Human Rights, and there is a clause to say that if you have a right to a family life, and because you, Mr. Paedophile, have your own family here and you got two kids of your own, I can't send you back. So they say they're going to close that loophole. They can't. The British government cannot change the terms of the ECHR. They can just tell the judges, oh, well, you know, can you not do that anymore? And you know what these left-wing judges will do? They will ignore it. So both of these crackdown announcements won't amount to a hill of beans.
Yeah, isn't it funny that these crackdown announcements come a week after voters cracked down on the Labour Party and sent them quite the message about their view on Labour's record on immigration. I mean, on the one hand, I'm pleased that the government has issued this edict to judges. I mean, after all, judges were pretty rapid to take up Keir Starmer's other edict about cracking down on the far-right thugs in the wake of last summer's riot. So it'd be a big test for the judges to see if they're just as enthusiastic to take up this direction as they were after the riots. And as for the closing the loopholes, I'm going to say a bit, at the risk of sounding a bit like Mr. Cartledge, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't asked any lawyers, which would be the normal thing I would do. I haven't asked any lawyers as to, is this really possible? But if it is possible, why didn't they do it when they first came into power? I mean, how many times have they needed to be shown what an absolute disaster this is? There's actually a much simpler way of going about it.
I know what you're going to say. Leave the ECHR,
yeah,
exactly.
All together now. Yeah. How about we just leave the ECHR?
Exactly right, exactly right. Again, both of these announcements reveal, as you say, the government is running terribly scared after their shellacking by Reform last week in the local elections and the parliamentary by-election in Runcorn. And the other is that they want to pretend that they're going to solve this crisis with this kind of nonsense. But you can't just say, well, listen, judges, you know that really awkward clause about right to a family life. In future, can you just ignore that? I mean, they're not going to do it, are they?
Well, not unfortunately, given the kind of character of these judges. I mean, they just leaning towards the applicant in each of these cases. We've seen that far too many times. So this is really desperate stuff. And, it links very nicely to our last story because they are under one hell of a lot of pressure on this issue now. And the migrants are going to continue to come over. I mean, this thing about they've all got to speak fluent English. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
how are we going to enforce that? I mean, what, all these illegal immigrants that are coming across the channel, many of whom can barely speak even to introduce themselves. Are we going to send them back because they can't speak English when we don't send them back on any other bases? I mean, they don't get sent back if they commit heinous crimes, but, oh, well, they can't string a sentence together, so off you go then. I just can't really see it happening, can you? And it is a very, very serious issue, given the insane amount of public money that is spent on translation services. But I'm sorry to say, a lot of that money is spent on translating for people who've been here for absolutely years. And we've got no hope whatsoever of sending anywhere.
Yeah, there are thousands of people in this country who've lived here for 30 years, 40 years, who can't speak English. So, I mean, the principle behind this crackdown, I completely agree with, but it won't happen. I can't see how they will enforce it. Now, let's move on still with the migrant crisis, because we revealed on this show last night, the story's been running all day, but it bears discussion. Britain's nightly asylum seeker hotel bill is revealed to be just over £4 million every single day. So that's £4 million a night, which means that the cost of putting up, and I think it's alarming the way that this was framed, that the cost of putting up migrants over the next decade is predicted to be a staggering £15 billion, which kind of reveals they're not expecting this crisis to be solved anytime soon. In fact, at no time in the next 10 years. That's a bit depressing, isn't it?
Well, the hope is that at the next opportunity this government is booted out, and in comes someone or some organisation, some political party that takes a rather different view. I don't think that the British public will tolerate another 10 years of this. Absolutely no way. This is a simmering pot, and very soon I think it's going to boil over.
I've got a last question before we go to break. Do you happen to know, Isabel, how many evil people smuggling gangs the government has smashed so far?
Is this a multiple choice question? Is it A?
Is it A, 0, B, 0, or C, the square root of sod all?
I think it's A, B, and C.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
the one. It's this absurd situation. One of those situations that if you didn't laugh, you'd cry. It really is very serious. And as we also have just discussed, remember this. It's not just about the numbers. It's not just about the hotels or the accommodation centres or the way this country is being changed culturally by this constant invasion of foreigners. It is about that we don't know who the hell these people are. And again, let's ask that question again. Among them were these Iranians that were arrested on Saturday. My guess, but I put money on it. Yes, they're asylum seekers or even just plain illegal migrants, and the government doesn't want us to know that because that would put into sharp focus just how hopeless they are at dealing with this migrant crisis. Just to remind everyone, more than 11,000 migrants have come across the channel illegally so far this year. That's 40% up on the same time last year, and that breaks all previous records. So the government's strategy, smash the gangs, it's just pathetic. And it's not working.